There is a type of news that does not arrive with a bang, does not appear directly in the headlines, and is not officially announced by clubs. It begins quietly, almost imperceptibly, behind the scenes of English football. Small comments, discreet movements, and a strange feeling that spreads among the more attentive supporters. At St. James Park, this kind of atmosphere has started to build again recently, sparking curiosity and expectation among those who follow Newcastle United closely. When this sort of mood emerges, the experienced fan already knows that something may be taking shape away from the spotlight. It is not just an isolated rumor, but a sequence of signals that start to connect. Every interview is analyzed more carefully. Every detail takes on a different weight. It is precisely at moments like this that following the channel and subscribing becomes important. Because many of the most significant stories begin this way, quietly, before eventually exploding into the open. Newcastle are in a period where strategic decisions off the pitch can be just as important as performances on it. The club understands the need to stay alert to opportunities that appear in the market, especially when they involve young, highly rated players who have already proven themselves in the Premier League. It is within this context that certain names begin to circulate more persistently, still without official confirmation, but with enough signs to fuel debate among supporters. Meanwhile, other clubs in the league are dealing with their own challenges. Financial issues, frequent changes in management, and inconsistent campaigns create an atmosphere of uncertainty. When this happens, some players see their futures reassessed, even those who have recently signed new contracts. For Newcastle, who are monitoring the market with caution, these situations can turn into valuable opportunities if the right moment arrives. According to information reported by journalist Graham Bailey, one specific name has come under close observation by Newcastle United. It is Nottingham Forest midfielder Morgan Gibbs-White, an England international regarded as sensational by many analysts. The Magpies' interest comes amid uncertainty surrounding the player's future at the City Ground, something that could open doors in the next transfer window. Gibbs-White is one of those players who stands out not only for his numbers, but for his constant influence on the pitch. Even in a turbulent season for Forest, he has managed to shine with decisive performances, showing personality and an ability to take responsibility. In 29 appearances across all competitions, the midfielder has recorded 6 goals and 3 assists, figures that underline his impact despite a difficult context. It is worth remembering that this is not the first time Gibbs-White's future has been the subject of speculation. Last summer, a move to Tottenham came very close to happening but ultimately collapsed in the final stages. Shortly afterwards, the player signed a new long-term contract with Nottingham Forest, running until 2028. Even so, long contracts do not always guarantee permanence when other factors come into play. The financial pressures faced by Forest are one of those factors. With the team battling to stay clear of the relegation zone, currently just 5 points above it, the situation becomes delicate. Clubs in this position often struggle to retain their key assets, especially when significant offers begin to emerge. Alongside Gibbs-White, names such as Elliot Anderson and Murillo are also attracting interest from Premier League rivals. For Newcastle, observing this landscape is part of a broader strategy. The club knows it must act intelligently, selecting reinforcements that genuinely raise the level of the squad. The potential availability of a player like Gibbs-White naturally draws attention, particularly given his age, league experience, and room for further development. That is why this kind of news deserves constant monitoring, and subscribing to the channel helps ensure you do not miss any detail. Competition, however, is expected to be strong. Tottenham remain long-time admirers of the midfielder and, according to the same information, would be willing to try again to secure his signature. This is regardless of the future of head coach Thomas Frank, who is under pressure in North London after a difficult start to his tenure, with just 7 wins from 22 league matches. While some clubs deal with instability, Newcastle are focused on maintaining a consistent plan. Eddie Howe has shown caution in the market, but has recently made it clear that the club needs to be ready to act when required. The lack of major movement in the last window does not signal a lack of ambition, but rather a strategic choice shaped by specific circumstances affecting the squad. Injuries in defense, for example, have complicated recent planning for the Magpies. Key players such as Tino Livramento and Fabian Schär have been sidelined with physical issues, while Dan Burn and Emil Kraft have also missed recent matches. In addition, captain Jamal Lascelles has been made available for transfer, which could open the door to significant changes within the squad. Against this backdrop, Eddie Howe stated last week that Newcastle have to be ready to act in the market. His words were widely interpreted as a clear signal that the club will not rule out reinforcements if the conditions are right. Among the possibilities mentioned was even a potential return for left-back Matt Targett, currently on loan at Middlesbrough, highlighting that multiple options are being considered. The possible interest in Gibbs-White fits perfectly into this planning logic. It is not just about addressing an immediate need, but about thinking long-term, about how to raise the technical level of the team and maintain competitiveness in the Premier League. Players with this profile are usually in high demand, and any move requires perfect timing and carefully calculated decisions. For Newcastle supporters, Following these developments is almost as exciting as the matches themselves. Every rumor, every update, every small detail can hint at the club's next step. That is why being subscribed to the channel becomes essential for those who want to understand the full context. Without sensationalism, but with clear, reliable, and well-explained information. It is important to stress that, at this moment, there is no official confirmation of negotiations. What exists is monitoring, observation, and interest, something entirely normal at this stage of the season, according to Graham Bailey. Newcastle are keeping a close eye on Gibbs-White's situation and could consider a move in the summer if the player becomes available from Nottingham Forest. This level of caution is simply part of the off-pitch game. As the season progresses, the destinies of many players begin to be shaped behind the scenes. Results, finances, and administrative decisions all directly influence these stories. For Newcastle United, staying prepared to seize opportunities could make all the difference in the next cycle. And for supporters, following every chapter of this narrative is what makes football so compelling. This is another situation that deserves close attention in the coming weeks. The market still holds surprises, and the name Morgan Gibbs-White could gather momentum again as the scenario develops. Keep following the channel, stay alert for the next updates, and if you are not yet subscribed, now is the perfect time to do so. That way you will not miss any important information about the present and future of Newcastle United.